Hello everybody, my name is Victor and I teach English in Brazil. Today we are going to check how we can read the phonemic chart, which is also referred to as the IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet, and how we can use this resource to help students with pronunciation. And before we check the many rows and columns of the phonemic chart, it's interesting to know we have two great online resources we can use with our students in order to better read the phonemic chart. The first one of them is, of course, the official IPA website. And on this website, we get to see the different places of articulation and also how the blocking of air works in each type of sound. It's a great website to get real-life examples on these sounds and also to help students noticing how different they may be, whether if you have a voiced sound or an unvoiced sound, whether the vocal cords are vibrating or not. And the second website we have, which is also a great resource, is the IPA Online Keyboard. This website is very useful because there we can find a keyboard, an online keyboard with all the phonemic symbols, and we can use these symbols to maybe transcribe one or two words and help students with memorizing, if needed of course, these symbols as we get to teach them pronunciation in the classroom. Without further ado, let's check the phonemic chart. Now, let's check the places of articulation, the columns of the phonemic chart that are found in the English language. So the first column refers to the bilabial sounds, which are sounds that require both lips to be produced. Words such as ball or party, their initial sounds, the b and the p, both of them require both lips to be produced, which is a little different from the second column, because in the second column we're going to have the labial dental sounds. Labial dental sounds are those that require our bottom or inferior lip touching our front teeth. So in a word such as fork, for example, the initial sound of f requires this bottom lip of ours touching our front teeth. We're going to have something different, and as you can see, the places of articulation, they go from the front of your mouth kind of like to the back of your mouth, because now we're going to have the dental or alveolar sounds, which pretty much is the tip of your tongue in a word such as dentist, the d sound, the initial sound, touching the back of your front teeth. And then, after that, we have the retroflex column, which mostly refers to the sound of R, especially when you have like the end of words, so if you have a word such as car, for example, you're going to have your tongue kind of going backwards, doing this retroflex sound of the R sound. And lastly, we're going to have the velar column, which is an interesting column because you can't really see these sounds being produced in the front of your mouth because you're going to use the back of your throat to produce them. So if you take a word such as good, that g sound comes from bottom down, from the bottom of your throat pretty much. So as you can see, the places of articulation, they go from the front of your mouth to the back. Second, let's check the rows of the phonemic chart. And each row refers, or each line refers to the manner of articulation, or how the air is blocked when it's expelled out of our mouths. So the first row here is the plosive, which also is known as the stop. Stop sounds or plosive sounds are those in which the air is almost completely blocked when you're speaking or producing the sound. So if you take a word such as ball, again, you're going to have both lips working here, and both of them are kind of holding the air when you're producing them. So ball would be a stop sound, which is a little different, of course, from the nasal sounds. And nasal sounds in words such as nasal itself, the first sound, the n, or when you have a word such as monster, when you have the m, you're going to feel that the air is coming out of your mouth, but part of it is also coming out or coming through your nose, which makes the nasal sound here. Then, if we keep going down, we're going to find the tap or flap sound, which is very interesting because if you take a word such as trap and you have the R sound here that is being followed by a consonant, that's pretty much the break of a tongue, the flap of a tongue that is going to produce the trap sound. So your tongue, the tip of your tongue kind of like slightly goes up and down. That would be the trap sound, the flap sound. After that, we're going to have a very interesting sound, which is the fricative sound. And fricative sounds are pretty much sounds in which the air comes out of your mouth, kind of like licking sideways. So if you take a word such as sight, for instance, you're gonna feel that the air is kind of like leaking by the sides of your tongue, and that you have the friction of the air on your mouth. So that would be a fricative sound. And lastly, you're gonna have here, down here, the approximant sounds. And approximant sounds are very similar to fricatives. So you can see that the rows, they kind of look like each other, but this sound here is going to be produced when you have the L sound. So a word such as long, and you're gonna feel your tongue kind of going up, in your mouth, and the air is kind of like going through, like around it, which is like bigger than a friction, bigger than the fricative sound, would be this approximant sound. These are the main sounds or manners of articulation we're going to find in the English language. And finally, the last information we need to know when reading the phonemic chart is related to voicing. So some squares of the phonemic chart have pairs of symbols, and this is very important to know. So the symbols that are on the left side are always those who are unvoiced or voiceless, which means the vocal cords, when we are producing them, won't vibrate that much. However, the sounds on the right are those which require more vibration of the vocal cords. So if you take a look at the first sounds here, the first two sounds, we're going to have bilabial sounds that are plosive or bilabial sounds that are stops. We're going to have P, such as in party, and we're going to have B, such as in ball. And these initial sounds show that very well, because the P sound, we're not going to have that much of vibration of our vocal cords. However, the B in ball will have more vibration than the first sound. So that shows why they are written here as a pair of sounds. There is a lot of information on the phonemic chart. That's true. But getting to know how to read it can help us teachers plan our classes and can help students with practicing pronunciation. For more tips and strategies, be sure to check out the other videos at TESOL's How to Teach English series. Happy teaching!